this exercise I'm going to show you how to do a beautiful cat's eye using pastel pencils. We're going to start by using the white. Now this is that. I've given you a little bit more here than I have there, but it's not much. Now what I'm doing now is working in the direction that I can see the strokes. And you see, as I go down, I'm changing direction slightly. Let's just rub that bit out. The graphite I got there is just a little strong. It might show through. I've got dark colours as well, so it probably won't. Now as I come down here, you see it's changing direction slightly. This is a secret. And then we go on the other side of it. Still use the white. I'm restricting the pencils here to just those. It makes it easier for you to understand. Normally I would use more. Now that's one lot. Another lot is just here. And this is again, it's white. And once again, working in the direction that I see those hairs. Sometimes it's not easy to see it, but do your best. Now you're right up close to that edge of the eye. I won't be doing the eye just yet. I like to get some of the surrounding. Right. Now that's got to the solid whites. And now what I'm going to do now is still put some more in, but this time I want to put a base colour in. Rather than making the strokes too strong, I'm going to put the base colour in using white. Not in that bit because it's very dark. Just in where we've got the lighter. And again, no, I won't do all this on the video, but you can see what I'm doing. Again, working in the same idea, putting those strokes in, even though this is not going to be white totally. I should be adding white, and it's the same up here. Okay, so I'm going to do all of that and then come back when I've done it. I'll fill this in just a little bit more as I go along, but it does take valuable video time up, so and unnecessary because I'm going to show you all of it. Okay, so let me finish that off and then come back and we'll put the next colour on, which is quite an exciting colour. It's that one. It's this browny, beautiful browny colour. That's all the white put in now. I'm using my finger here. But this here is really a base colour. We'll be putting colours into it, including white. A little bit in there. What I'm doing really is just putting a little bit of base in so that when I put these stronger colours in, it's weakened. I'll show you what I mean. This is the one I'm going to use now, 186. But once again, follow the same idea, using strokes that are in the direction of the fur. Now see, that's the first thing. Now I'm going to carry on here because I want to do this as well. I want to get this edge here. There you go. And now this is not so much in the direction of the fur, although it still is. It's filling it up, so we've got a lot of colour to put in there, making it a bit darker. Let's find out this one here. This is grey really, but I think we can probably afford to have some of this colour in there. Lovely. Okay, same here. No, I won't do that, but you can see what I'm doing. Again, putting the base in, and then we'll be putting lots of colours into this, working in the direction that we see the hair. Okay, so I'm going to be doing that in a second. This is slightly different. You see this has got a grey in there. So what we do with that, we use grey. Now I'm now thinking, which direction is the fur going in? Well, it isn't. It's going every which way. So I'm kind of doing the same kind of thing here. You can see that I'm representing this badly, I know, but you'll see in a minute how this works all out for us. And down here like that, and it stretches down. A little bit of grey in there, might as well put that in. But here you see there's some of that colour again, so come back in with a 186 and do the same thing, put that in, especially there. You see that? Good idea. Right, now we've got to make some kind of headway in here. Let's start with that. You see it's got some dark grey in it. I've also got a dark brown, so if you can't make up your mind whether it's grey or brown, put it both in. That's the brown, well, that looks a good colour to me. Now what we want to try to do is try to imagine that white is coming over there. So we come back in to the white, suggesting that. Got it? Now, what about here? Can't see it, can we? Well, what we do again, if we can't determine what's what, bear in mind what I'm doing isn't putting base colours in. We'll be putting detail in a little while. Now we get down to there. This is the brown, remember. This is 177, if you're keeping track of it. As we come to here, I can pick up what I think is the direction of the fur. Some here as well, grey or brown. And let's put the ochre in as well. Once again, as I say, I'm really keep emphasising it to you, but these are really just base colours. That was a pink, by the way. I didn't tell you that, but I've also got a pink, which is 189. This is where this pink comes in. It's very much in evidence in this section here. So I put that in there. Right, now, I think what we better do now is make that just a little stronger. We can be putting the white on top of that in a minute. Make it just a little more punchy. Now, you can't use your finger when you get to a situation like this. So what I'm going to use is this cotton bud. Ideally, you would use a colour shaper. But if you're starting out, you don't want to go to that length. when cotton buds will work. Let me show you. I've left the dust on there because that can be put into the paper. You see what I'm doing? It's very representative of what we got, but it needs more detail, which is what I'm going to do in a minute. And we can also do the same thing with that. Just gradually, just gently. Don't put too much pressure on. Blend that as well. And this too. Still mindful that we're trying to bring the fur out. Okay, now I'm going to carry on with that. I'll do all of that in the same way. And then we can start in earnest, starting putting our dark colours and our light colours in. In other words, detail. Now that's all the base colours in. So now, as I said, we're going to put some detail in. This time, much more deliberate. And the brown, 177. I'll just do this one little section and then I can carry on. Now the other thing is in here, what about in here? Well, this is where it's very dark, so draw that in. And come in from there. And that is really grey, so let's put some grey in there. This is 273 grey. You want to get as much detail as we can get in. There you go. Now, I'll finish that off in a minute, but you can see how strong that's becoming. But I've got another colour here, which is 175. Now that is a very strong colour, which means we can put some punch in with this. We look at that and you think, hang on, Colin, isn't there some brown in there? There is. You're quite right. So now we can use the 187 there, which gives us this. And while it's in my hand, let's carry on with this. You can see it beginning, can't you? Lots of grey in here, so let's use the grey. All the strokes again are in the direction that we see the hair. Now this is different, isn't it? That's how we're going to do that. What we're going to do with that is try to emulate what we see here. This time, instead of scumbling it in willy-nilly, I'll just do a little bit, but you can see how that's beginning to come up. It's much easier when you've got a pencil rather than a paintbrush to do this with. And that's I'm going to fill that up in a minute. But let's do a little bit more of this because this is probably the more difficult. But you see that base colour I put in, you can see that coming through now. So you see how important it was. Let's just add a little more. Let's add that pink, which I can see pink in there. same action. But isn't it a bit darker, Colin? It is indeed. So what means we've got to have a darker colour. I wouldn't use the brown, I'd use the 175 here. So what we want to do now, be a bit more careful now, because we want to pick up that same really attractive, and come into the hair as well. Don't worry about the fact that we're losing some of that. I'm going to show you in a minute how that can all be brought back. But you can see now that what I'm doing, picking that up, is pretty close, especially when I do come down here with a dark colour, which I'm going to do in a minute. Anyway, now what do we do then? Well, we use our white now. Nice sharp white. Wouldn't believe that possible, Colin, like this, folks. Now, obviously we come down here, but we can't do that because we haven't got the iron yet. But when we got the iron, that's what it will do. See, now I'm going to carry on with that. But you can see how it's beginning. Another thing we can do here, see, that's kind of shaded a bit. Well, colour shaper, or if you haven't got one of these, cotton bud, just to blend out. Now what's happening now is we're blending some of the colour and transferring some of that colour to other areas. Now I'll just do this one little bit here. See that colour there? That's all on the cotton bud. And then we work our magic with our pencil again. See how I'm holding that? Yeah. Looking very good at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with that, and I'm using the same. I'll show you as much as I can of this. When we come back in here, what we've got to do is colour this as well. We can't just leave it white. And by putting those colours that we've already got on there, we can, and you can imagine what that's going to look like once that dark colour goes in there. Oh, can't wait. Anyway, I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to show you little sections of this as I go along. And when I get to here, it'll be very much like that down here. So watch that and enjoy it, because it's going to take me a little while, but it's worth it. Now, this is interesting. This is another colour, 172. It's the colour I'm going to be using for the eye. And I can see it in the animal. So it'd be rather nice to include this in the fur. This is probably quite a tricky situation, but if you do it the way I showed you, a little bit at a time, working from the lighter colours then into the darker colours, and then finally we can put the white back in. And I mean it would be finally. I wouldn't, once you put this in, I wouldn't go back over it again because you're going to spoil it. But you can see that I'm actually managing to get that white in there. Doesn't have to be lily white. And I think what we'll do is we'll make it just a little darker. 175. Come back the other way. It doesn't go everywhere. Just on the bottom here. I like corners. And if we put that, make sure that's dark in that corner. There you go. Now, a little bit more white. I should put a little bit more in. Now, one thing here, you see that? How do you do that? Well, you do it with the colour. I'm using the grey. Just whittle the pencil round until it works. I'm coming down here in a minute and show you that. Well, I've started the ball rolling on that. There. And I think, you see, that's not bad. You could almost leave it like that. I'm not going to. Let's put some colour in. This is the 189, which is the pinky cone, which is quite nice. That can be added. You don't want it to be too pristine there. And then 177, the brown. Not quite so much of this, just pick your spots. But you've got to do it because it's, well, first of all, it's representative of what we're looking for there. And what I want to do now is use the colour shape of the cotton bud just to fudge that edge, because it can be a bit sharp there. And then just pop it in every now and again, because you've got it on the cotton bud, so pop it in. And I think that looks really good. Finally, once again, put just a bit of white in there to brighten it up. There you go. And I think we can put some of this white in here as well. I don't think I'm going to be returning to this. I think this is finished. But what I am doing, I'm using my 175. I'll turn this round. I want to put this in. Now, if we're really careful, we can use this on the edge. Now, it doesn't, you see what I'm doing? I'm just fudging that a little bit, making it not quite so strong. There we are. And I think that looks lovely. So, I'm almost there. I think what I'll do is I'll make this just a little darker at the top. Same colours I used before, grey. Darker we can make, because the eye is going to be dark, you see. That's not bad. A little bit of pink in there. All the colours you've used. And a little bit of that. 186. Which does give it a rather attractive tone there. There we are. Right. We're ready for the eye, folks. How do you start off? Well, you always start off with the white and the eye. Might be an idea just to erase some of that. I don't want it to be interfering with. No, I've changed. I haven't made it that shape. Yes, you don't want it to the graphite to interfere with it. Now, what about here? Well, what do we do here? Well, because we're restricted on these colours, I'm going to put the white in first. Try to avoid putting it into the pupil because that's going to be very dark. And when you get up to there, fade it away. Right, so, and round circular movements like I'm showing you is perfect. I'm going to do that with the other side. Again, I'll just show you this again. Don't make it too strong up the top because that's going to be dark. But as it comes down, and it might be an idea here just to, with your white, just make sure you've got a nice edge there, like that. Right, so we'll do that, and then we're going in with this next colour. I'll sharpen that up. Needs to be just a bit sharper. Right. Okay, now I'm using a clean. Make sure it's clean, otherwise we'll end up with peculiar colours in there. Blend it in. There we are. That's good. I would come into this area as well, even though there's not anything much on it. I think it's a good idea to marry it together. Just, we're going to make it quite dark in there. Right, now this colour. Once again, come right up into there. Well, I'll do this half and then break off. Now, again, avoid that pupil because you want that to be really strong tone. And if you put these colours on it, it will make it, it will weaken it. Now there is another colour in here which I haven't got out, but I think if I do get it out, it will make quite a difference. So I'm going to break my rule. Instead of the 8 that we're... Oh, hang on, I've got it. Colin, I have got it out. Here it is, look. Because I haven't used it, you see. It made its way over there. Oh, well, that's good news. Because that's the one I was going to find. I didn't realise it was one of the 8. Now, this is also... I've got the dust on there. I'd leave that on there. Until now, then blow it away because you can't see what's going on. Now there's also a couple of other colours in here as well. One is this one. Just a touch of colour in there, just a little. And some grey too. Gosh, I'll see if I can get away with it. If not, I'll have to sharpen it up. A little grey. particularly up here where we've got a shadow. There's also indications in there that there's some of this pattern, which I kind of like it. Put that in there. Bring back the yellow. This is 102, and I haven't showed you that. There's 102. Twiddle it about a bit so it makes it look attractive, and then there's a little bit of white as well. I think will be a nice idea until you get that effect, and then I would leave it alone. What about up there? It's got to be darker. Well, there's only one colour we can use, and that's the 175. Now let me show you how this works. It's scary. 175 up there. I'm coming up above that area and then pull it down. And as you pull it down, ease it off. Ease the pencil off the paper so you don't get it quite so strong. You can come right down to about there. I'm going to put some grey in too. More to actually blend what I've just put in. There we are. Now that is, I think, probably as good as we're going to get. Let's just blend it out. Once you blend it, you'll find that it weakens it a little. So we're going to have to go back over it again. But there is a little trick I can show you with the pastel pencil. Now it's a little darker now. And the grey. What you do is you go back in with the original colour you use, which is that one. I'm going to use this one now. That goes over the top. And what that does, that brings back the tone that you originally had, but because you're sandwiched between that is the dark tones. That's clever, isn't it? Leave it alone. Now I'm going to do the other half of that I'll show you little sections of that as I do it, but that looks really good. I'm very pleased with it. And a little bit more detail in there, I think. But once this is finished, you'll see this in all its glory. There you go. Right, I'm going to do that half. Now we've got to darken the area. All you do is put a bit more strength, a bit more pressure on the pencil, and again fade it so it fades into what you've already done. Same on this side, not so much on this side, it's more on that shadow area that you've got it. It's not bad here. Now, we now need to just make that just a little bit less like that. Couldn't really do this without something like this. Now that looks pretty good to me. I'm just going to I use the grey, I think. Blend that just a little more so it makes more sense. There we are. Great. Right, now then, what we've got to do now is bring this down. Like I showed you before. I'm not going to overdo it. I think that is pretty good. Make sure we've got a nice, strong light. And then finally, we've got to put that in. And this is tricky because we've got to use there's only one colour we can use, and that's 175. I'm going to make it slightly thicker than the reference picture. One side and then the other. Right. Now, I'm just wondering whether I can get away with that. Maybe the grey will work. What I'm going to do is pull the edge of that out slightly. I can't use a 175, we're too strong. That's working all right. Now, normally I would use a black, but I can't do that because I haven't got black in the range. For you, anyway. Same there. Just use another pencil. 273 it is. You can see that on the picture there. See how that actually works. A bit foggy at the end. And I think we can bring the white maybe back in here to sharpen that off. Maybe a little yellow as well. There we are. Now that's pretty good. Very pleased with that. And it's come up better than I thought, to be fair. And let's just put a few more of these. I love doing this. It's like whiskers. Might be a good idea to just put a few more hairs in. There we are. Great. hope you've enjoyed that. Let's smarten everything up here so you can give you a better presentation. There are 2, 4, 6, 8 pencils, rubber and a cotton bud. Couldn't do without that. That's great. I hope you've enjoyed that. I have. It's been great fun. And I look forward to seeing you again on another one very, very soon. Bye for now.